I'm Gregor Thomson. I'm a philosopher and a writer, and I know what the meaning of life is. Welcome to The Struggle. This episode is brought to you by The Struggle newsletter. This is a weekly email newsletter in which I send out every Sunday for free a short article concerning the art of embracing struggle. If you're struggling to be more productive, to be healthy, to achieve your dreams, perhaps you're chasing the wrong thing. A lot of us believe that we should be aiming for happiness, but this is an unwise pursuit, as happiness comes and goes without any control from us. However, there is a way to be more fulfilled with life, and that is to embrace productive struggles, to exercise, to eat healthy, to have uncomfortable conversations, to take career risks, to discover who you are, and to be autonomous. That's why I created a newsletter. Along with the article, I also provide tips, strategies, and recommendations such as movies, music, podcasts, and recipes to help along the way. To sign up completely for free, go to gregorthomson.com, the link will be in the show notes, confirm your subscription, and make sure you check your spam folder for your welcome newsletter, and add me to your contacts to continue to receive it in your inbox for free. And that's it. You're on your way to struggling more and being more productive, healthy, and motivated. Now, let's get on with the struggle. This is episode 30 of The Struggle with me, Gregor Thomson. Now, I'm going to turn 29 in a couple of months, and I spent the majority of my 20s and late teens unwittingly overindulging. Overindulgence, meaningless pleasure, and fabricated versions of reality leading to compulsive and addictive behaviours, psychological ailments, financial overindulgence, and a lack of meaning. Or, I spent the majority of my 20s and late teens surrounding myself with meaningful relationships, searching for true love, learning and attempting to uncover meaning, and achieving a great deal in my academic career. The nature of time is a tricky concept to grasp. Both these versions of my past are true, but they're dependent on perceptions and interpretations of history. We lose the majority of an event the second it's over because our minds erase what it believes to be unnecessary based on how we're feeling at the time, with little to no contemplation or discussion with ourselves. So it's easy to taint our pasts with everything we perceive to be negative if we think in this way. My coming of age was at a time of vast change. Of course, every generation can say this, and they would be right, but what was unique about my growth was technology and our complete unpreparedness for its incredibly fast-moving change. We, as children, were given the internet with no context as to what the consequences of such a boundless space would be. I went from knocking on friends' doors to sending a message via a satellite in space to these same friends within a few years. I went from fantasizing about models pinned to my bedroom walls to viewing more naked women than my brain could handle, literally. My childhood was at a time of both unrestricted freedom and limited movement, a time of great meaning and a time of intense numbness and nihilism. So please forgive me if I'm only just now taking the reins of my life and steering it towards meaning and away from meaningless pleasure, indulgence, and compulsive behavior. We all have multiple versions of history, and it's dependent on our temperament, our mood, and perceptions. I tell you this because I've found the most effective manner to view my past and my future to the best of my abilities in order to live a meaningful, not happy life. A life of courage, fear, and progress. I've contemplated, researched, meditated, studied, and searched inwardly for the answer to my questions, and I will continue to do this throughout my life. Why did I feel little meaning before? Why did I struggle to move forward? Why did I find comfort in compulsion and pleasure? How did I eventually find meaning in the work I do? How did I stumble across this productive and meaningful mindset that I now occupy, that allowed me to have 2 master's degrees, a consistent workout routine, a healthy diet, meaningful relationships, to record a weekly podcast and write a weekly email newsletter, and to study myself and my psyche through therapy? Our lives are filled with aspects that we cannot control. We are lucky in some respects and unlucky in others. We are born to parents we didn't choose, in a country we didn't choose, with privilege or lack of privilege we didn't choose, with good looks or lack of good looks we didn't choose. So it can be so very easy to be cynical about the world and curse it for this cruel fate you've been dealt. This easy way is actually living the meaningless life, not a meaningful one. To live meaninglessly is easy. It's to fail to live up to your potential. It's failing and blaming it on everything but yourself. It's holding everyone and everything other than yourself responsible for the way your life turns out. To live in this nihilistic pattern is to live the easy but unfulfilling life. The path of nihilism is to believe that the world, the universe, and everything that occurs within it has no meaning. Everything does not happen for a reason. What you do does not matter. Of course, objectively, this is true. Everything does not happen for a reason, and this is plausible given that humans have occupied this world for hundreds of thousands of years and will continue to occupy this world for long after you're gone. We live in a minuscule ripple within a humongous lake of time. Therefore, what we do can seem insignificant. You will die, and a few generations later, people will forget you. Now, this may all be true. Or maybe it's just objectively true. Perhaps, fundamentally, this mindset is an intellectual failing so catastrophic that it has the potential to ruin lives. It's not a hyperbole to say that thinking nihilistically makes the world inherently worse, and that you are partially to blame for that. So perhaps, instead of thinking simply and objectively, you should think fundamentally. To believe that everything you do is meaningful is a wise guide towards the path of progress. It guides us towards making the world better. Author and political scientist Brian Klaas said, "We control nothing but influence everything." When you are that bit kinder to the server at a restaurant or the stranger in the street, that can have the power to positively influence countless people's days. It's not implausible to say that you have the power to save lives with how you behave and how you treat others. And it's the same with yourself. Everything you do day by day influences the person you are and the mind and body that you inhabit. To believe that everything you do influences the world is the path of most resistance. It's climbing to the top of what you believe to be the highest mountain, only to see a higher one in the distance, and repeating this again and again and again. It's sacrificing your comfort today for a meaningful tomorrow. It's killing yourself, metaphorically, to be reborn a better person. It's bearing the horrendously heavy burden of responsibility on your shoulders and never passing it on to others. It's the struggle for meaning. If we all believed that what we do is incredibly meaningful, how much better would the world be? It starts with you. The responsibility of meaning falls solely at your feet. Therefore, we must all bear the burden of meaning and get to work. The alternative is death, both metaphorical and literal. The answer lies in the struggle. So keep on struggling. Just a few more things before you take off. Firstly, thank you for watching. It genuinely means a lot to see people viewing and liking the content. Second, if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe. It's the best way you can support the podcast. As you can probably tell, I don't have a lot of fancy equipment and I don't have a team behind me helping with recording and editing the podcast. So any support from you is greatly appreciated and it will help the podcast grow. You can also stay up to date with everything I'm doing on social media. All of the links will be in the show notes. And you can listen to the Struggle podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And lastly, keep on struggling.